The next key element to Catholic social teaching centers on rights and responsibility. See, every human being has a right to life. We certainly understand that. But we also have to understand that every human being has a right to a certain level of comfort in life. No, not being rich and not having everything you want, but a certain level. Again, it's all rooted in dignity, isn't it? But this rights and responsibility that everybody has a right to food and shelter, education, employment, healthcare, and housing. They have a right to the freedom of religion. They have a right to a family. They have a right to do things with their lives in the best way they can. But sometimes people need a little assistance. If we're going to live with the idea that community is part of our role of responsibility as a Christian, then we have to remember that the individuals within the community have rights themselves. But it's also they have responsibility. See, it's not just about getting what you want. It's also about being responsible for one another. So if I have a right to food and shelter, then I also have a responsibility to help provide that food and shelter to somebody in need. You see? So it kind of goes hand in hand. It's not just a welfare state. You'll hear that phrase a lot in politics. We don't want to be a welfare state. Hey, that guy needs a job. He should work for his own food. Why should I have to pay for his? Yeah, those are legitimate concerns in political debates. But in Catholic social teaching, we can honestly say that if I'm my brother's keeper, then I have a right or an obligation to help them and a responsibility to be a part of their solution. But at the same time, if I'm down on my luck, maybe I have a certain inalienable right to something basic like food and shelter. That's what drives the mission work that we do across this world. People have a right to be fed. I don't know why that we can't just sit back and watch them starve, So the idea is that we have rights and responsibilities that we have to take seriously. There's a give a little bit and there's a take a little bit. That's just the way it goes. After you consider about your rights and your responsibilities, there's one other step that goes a little bit deeper. If you're going to ask yourself, what would Jesus do? Well, then, this next part of Catholic social teaching is the answer. It's the option for the poor. That's right. It's in other words, the guy with nothing gets the first preference. I mean, Jesus taught it. The last shall be first. And in a sense, the rich guy can handle himself, at least for a while. And maybe rich people need help too sometimes. But the option for the poor, the neediest of the needy, that they get the first dibs because they need the most help. It just makes total sense. And so the idea that Catholic social teaching would say we need to look at life from the standpoint is that the poor guy gets the help first. Pope Benedict wrote in his encyclical about God's love that we were talking about last week, he wrote this: love for widows and orphans, prisoners and the sick, and the needy of every kind is as essential to the Church as the ministry of the sacraments and preaching of the gospel. There you have it. I mean, right there, it says it all. This is the idea that the neediest person needs to be sought after first. So when you're looking at the politics of it all, and there's an issue out there to try to help somebody, obviously you're going to hear someone say, well, I don't want a policy that helps the rich get richer. No, you want to help somebody that needs it the most. Now be careful. Be careful how you define needy, because again, like we said on our last point, this is not a welfare state. We all have the right and responsibility to take care of our families and to do what we have to do. So it's not an option for the people who think they're needy. It's the option for the poor. And I think we know the difference.